A week into the Iran-Israel war, there are no signs yet of a swift resolution. The US president is currently weighing up what he's going to do next, with him suggesting that he's not in the mood to negotiate with Iran, and that he's not asking for a ceasefire. What we're looking at is better than a ceasefire. Over here in the UK, while things are less chaotic, questions are still being asked about where that leaves us. So in this video, we're going to have a look at what Britain's role in the conflict has been so far, and whether we could be dragged into the conflict. Never miss an episode and always feel in the loop by subscribing and ringing the bell. Now, the conflict between Israel and Iran began last Friday, when Israel launched a strike against Iran with the main goal of dismantling Iran's nuclear facilities. The strikes came only a day after the International Atomic Energy Agency ruled that Iran had broken its non-proliferation obligations for the first time in 20 years. After decades of warning that Iran could acquire nuclear weapons, something that he suggested would threaten the very existence of the Israeli state, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu claimed that new Israeli intelligence proved that Iran was closer than ever to acquiring a bomb, and decided it was time to take action. The fact that many of Iran's allies, such as Assad in Syria, Hezbollah and Hamas, have been eliminated or weakened in the past 2 years, clearly emboldened him. Ever since Netanyahu made this call, both sides have been exchanging missiles, killing hundreds and slowly ratcheting up fears that this could spill out into a wider conflict. In response, Keir Starmer was quick to deploy RAF Typhoon jets and air-to-air refuelers to the Middle East in case of escalation. This sparked a flurry of speculation that the UK could be about to intervene alongside Israel, which only escalated after Starmer refused to rule it out, and Chancellor Rachel Reeves told Sky News that, while the jets were there as a precautionary move, they could, quote, potentially be used to support Israel. The rhetorical equivocation speaks to the fact that Israel's turn on Iran has put Starmer in a difficult spot politically. For context, we've seen Starmer undergo something of a change of attitude towards Israel in recent months. In the immediate aftermath of the October the 7th attack, Britain was keen to provide support to the Israeli government, with Starmer repeatedly claiming that Israel has the right to defend itself. In the last few months, though, the British government has started to scale back this support and become more critical of the way that Israel is prosecuting their war in Gaza. In May, in a joint statement with his French and Canadian counterparts, Starmer stated, "We strongly oppose the expansion of Israel's military operations in Gaza, and that the level of human suffering in Gaza is intolerable." Then, in early June, Starmer sanctioned 2 Israeli ministers for inciting violence against Palestinian communities. However, Israel's turn to Iran has forced Starmer to throw his weight back behind Israel. He since reaffirmed, quote, Israel's right to self-defense, and told Bloomberg News, "We've long held concerns, grave concerns, about Iran's nuclear program," before then going on to say that his ultimate aim was to achieve peace and stability in the Middle East. Judging by his tone, Starmer seems to implicitly agree with the Israeli position, that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, and more controversially, that these strikes are a good way of preventing this from happening. So, does this mean that the UK could get involved? Well, as things stand, this looks unlikely. Iran has so far made sure not to attack Israel's allies or disrupt oil trade, to avoid pushing Israel's allies into the war. However, if the US decides to get involved, which at the time of writing looks pretty likely, Starmer's calculus will change. Ever since Trump moved back into the White House in January, Starmer has been keen to try and align himself with the US. As we mentioned in the intro, so far Trump is showing no sign that he wants to get Iran to sign any sort of peace deal. Instead, he claimed he wanted to see a complete give-up by Iran of nuclear weapons. Now, of course, if the US were to get involved, this wouldn't automatically drag the UK in, and there would be lots of reasons for Starmer to stay out. For starters, bombing Iran is not a popular idea amongst the British public, and supporting Israel militarily would make it harder for Starmer to continue to criticise Israel's war in Gaza. It would also strain UK-EU relations, given that the major European countries, including France, have shown no interest in getting involved, and Macron is instead arguing that Israel's stated project of regime change risks turning the Middle East into, quote, chaos. This is all very reminiscent of what happened around the Iraq War in 2003, when the UK and France were trying to deepen their security cooperation to reduce Europe's military dependence on the US. But the plan fell apart when the UK decided to support the US in Iraq, while France decided to stay out. Nonetheless, Starmer clearly wants to stay in Trump's good books, and he might struggle to say no if Trump presses the UK to get involved. Starmer might also see this as an opportunity to demonstrate the competence of the UK military, both to Europe and to the US, which obviously wants the UK to take a more central role in European security. So, if the UK does decide to get involved, what would that actually look like? There are varying degrees to which this could happen, so we'll start with the lowest level and move up the scale. As a bare minimum, the UK could assist Israel in defending itself from Iranian drone strikes. This is something that Britain has already had experience in, with British jets being used in April last year to shoot down Iranian drones, and to a lesser extent in October, when jets assisted Israel during a ballistic missile barrage from Iran. Doing so again would demonstrate to the US that Britain is willing to get involved, and that it's still willing to align itself with the US internationally. However, it would also risk aligning more closely with Israel, and as a senior Iranian official told CNN that Iran will target regional bases of any country that defends Israel, would risk incurring the wrath of Iran. The next level up would be assisting with any strikes against Iran, something that, as we've already alluded to, appears like it could be the US's next move. The risk-reward here is essentially the same, only heightened. The so-called special relationship would be bolstered, but at further risk of harm to British servicemen and women, and there would certainly be domestic backlash as well. And lastly, the final step up is the UK throwing their weight behind any subsequent military action. It's hard right now to predict what this could be, but the UK agreeing to deploy further military assets after American strikes in Iran would probably be the theoretical limit of British involvement. Like a lot of things right now, this topic is increasingly complex and ever-changing. And here at TLDR, we're committed to learning more to help us understand the world around us. Luckily for us, our sponsor this week, Brilliant, helps us do just this. We know that learning a little every day is one of the most important things you can do, both for personal and professional growth. And Brilliant helps you get smarter in minutes a day. You can even perfect your skills wherever you are, whether you're on the go or winding down. It's the opposite of mindless scrolling. Brilliant has the perfect mix of engaging problems, competitive features, and daily encouragement that keeps you motivated and on track. For instance, Brilliant's data science content uses real-world data to train you to see trends and make better informed decisions. No matter your level of skill, these courses are perfect to start or continue learning data analysis, with a full suite of content covering data visualizations, algorithms, regression models, and more. Learn how to parse and visualize massive datasets from brands you know to make them easier to interpret. Plus, all content on Brilliant is crafted by an award-winning team of teachers, researchers, and professionals from Stanford, MIT, Caltech, Microsoft, Google, and more. To try Brilliant for free, visit brilliant.org/TLDR, scan the QR code on screen, or click the link in the description. By doing so, you'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription, and they'll know you came from us, which really helps us out.